The CBC says that 78% of millennials in Toronto have abandoned hope of owning a traditional home in the city. Meanwhile, tiny home communities across Canada have waiting lists hundreds deep. What if a tiny space could unlock a new way of living and even foster community? Today, I'm breaking down 5 essential aspects of the tiny living movement in spaces under 400 square feet that potential homeowners need to understand. I'll show you the success of communities like 12 Neighbours, where formerly homeless individuals now have safe, affordable housing costing just 30% of their income, all because one tech millionaire approached housing differently. $1.1 million average home price in Toronto represents shattering dreams for thousands of families. When I talk to local residents, the frustration is palpable. Many have solid careers and decent incomes, yet home ownership is like luxury reserved for the wealthy or those who bought decades ago. The construction boom visible across Toronto's skyline creates an illusion of progress. Despite all these cranes and new developments, the population growth outpaces construction at a rate never seen before, even with a recent reduction in immigration. It's like a tug of war where construction teams pull valiantly, where population growth pulls harder, moving the affordability finish line further away. This imbalance ripples through every aspect of city life. Young families must choose between cramped living conditions in the city or grueling communities from more affordable outer regions. Many people spend over 20 hours a week traveling to and from work, essentially a part-time job on top of their full-time position. The rental market has become its own trap when nearly half your income disappears from rent. Saving for a down payment becomes mathematically impossible. This represents a fundamental restructuring of achievable financial milestones for the average person. The consequences extend beyond housing itself. Housing costs consume such a disproportionate share of income that people make painful sacrifices. Medical appointments get postponed. Educational opportunities are passed up. Retirement savings dwindle to dangerous lows. For generations, home ownership represented the cornerstone of financial security and wealth building. The pathway is effectively blocked for many Torontonians today, creating a class division between property owners and perpetual renters that will reshape our city's social fabric for decades. As this property divide widens, an unlikely housing revolution is happening on the margins of the market. 10 years ago, tiny homes were dismissed as a fringe experiment for environmental extremists. Today, they're becoming a legitimate solution for thousands of Canadians priced out of traditional home ownership. Modern tiny living has evolved beyond the wooden cabin on wheels stereotypes. The movement now encompasses micro-apartments in urban centers, home-crafted from shipping containers, and purpose-built communities with dwellings under 400 square feet. This diversification demonstrates how the concept adapts to different environments and needs across Canada. The pandemic accelerated this shift when we reconsidered our living spaces. Working from home reviewed how much square footage sat unused, while draining bank accounts monthly. Many questioned the necessity of paying premium price for excess space. The tiny living demographic spans far beyond young singles. Retirees downsize to free retirement funds. Families seek financial breathing room, and professionals want to work downtown without crushing mortgages. This broad appeal addresses something fundamental in our relationship with housing. While Toronto's housing remains prohibitively expensive, many tiny homes can be constructed for under $100,000, transforming the financial equation and freeing resources for other life priorities. What we're witnessing is a profound cultural shift challenging our equation of square footage with success. The industry growth confirms this trend's staying power. From fewer than 10 tiny home builders in Canada in 2015, today over 50 companies have waiting lists stretching months. Beyond the clear price advantage we've seen in tiny home construction, the actual financial liberation goes much deeper than what first meets the eye. It is important to mention that reduced utility consumption creates ongoing monthly savings that compound over time. This financial reconstructing redirects thousands of dollars annually toward priorities that actually improve quality of life. Consider a hypothetical but realistic example that aligns with many people. Maria, who has been working 60-hour weeks at a marketing firm she hated. 6 months after moving into her tiny home, she had enough savings to unlock the door to her long-postponed photography business. Her utilities bills dropped from $300 monthly to just $75, savings that transformed her career trajectory. The environmental benefits directly complement these financial advantages. Tiny homes consume a fraction of the resource of conventional housing. Many owners incorporate solar panels, further reducing their carbon footprint. A resident could reduce their utility bills by comparing his previous 3-bedroom house to his currently tiny home. The difference? Staggering. What fascinated me most is how tiny living changes people's relationships with possessions. When space is at a premium, every item must pass the joy test. Tiny home communities also incorporate shared spaces that foster genuine connection. This explains why many residents report higher life satisfaction despite dramatically reduced square footage. The rose-colored portrayal of tiny living in documentaries and Instagram feeds masks a challenging truth. For every success story we've encountered, there has been someone quietly selling their tiny home after confronting realities that no perfectly staged photo shoot could have prepared them for. Every home innovation faces growing pains. Tiny homes are no exception. The regulatory landscape presents significant obstacles across Canada. Municipal governments enforce minimum square footage requirements, while outdated zoning regulations often prohibit placing in residential areas. One person spent months researching where I could legally place my tiny home. Each municipality had completely different rules. Financial barriers compound these challenges. Traditional mortgages remain unavailable for tiny home, pushing buyers toward personal loans and higher interest rates. As one resident explained, the bank looked at me like I was speaking another language when I mentioned financing tiny homes. Insurance presents another hurdle. Many providers either refuse coverage or charge premium rates that undermine affordability benefits. Canada's climate introduces additional complexity. Harsh winter demand, robust installation, and efficient heating systems that add substantial costs. Several owners discovered that heating systems were inadequate during the first winter, requiring expensive retrofits they hadn't anticipated. The psychological dimensions proved equally challenging. Space constraints transform daily activities into logistical puzzles. For couples, this constrained proximity becomes a relationship accelerator. These close quarters quickly reveal whether the lifestyle is sustainable for each individual needs. While most discussion of tiny homes center on downsizing by choice, something profound is happening in Fredericton, New Brunswick that's challenging our understanding of what these impact dwellings can achieve. When tech entrepreneur Marcel Lebrun sold his company Radiant 6 to Salesforce for a staggering $326 million, he faced an unexpected question. Could tiny homes solve problems that traditional housing programs couldn't? His answer came in the form of the 12 Neighbours project. 99 tiny homes, each measuring 240 square feet, designed specifically for people experiencing homelessness. The community stands out through its revolutionary financial approach. Residents pay only 30% of their income, typically maxing out at $200 monthly, including utilities and internet, a fraction of what the government housing program costs to operate. The economics represent a breakthrough in affordable housing. Each unit was built for under $70,000 compared to the government-built housing exceeding $300,000 per unit. Lebrun invested $4.5 million personally, with support from nonprofits and corporate donors. Building hope brick by brick, carpenters completed one home every 4 days. Beyond shelter, a social enterprise center provides job training, employment opportunities, and personal development. Residents work in the community cafe, shops, or gardens while pursuing education and life skills. Home face shared green spaces, intentionally fostering community. For those who've experienced homelessness, the impact is transformative. Marla Bruce, after living on the streets, expressed, "Marcel is literally a godsend. Now I have a home and peace because every place where I stayed before was temporary." Al Smith found new purpose as a community ambassador, creating video updates about the project. This model shows promising scalability. Initiatives like a better tent city in Kitchener demonstrate similar success elsewhere. With 8,000 people on New Brunswick's affordable housing waitlist, LeBrun noted, "We could fill 200 houses if we had them right away." As our journey through tiny living landscapes comes to a close, it's clear that projects like 12 Neighbours and a Better Tent City are laboratories for the future of community design. These innovative models demonstrate how shared resources and intentional community planning create belonging where traditional housing has failed. What makes these communities transformative is their reshaping of home value. The emphasis on community connection, sustainability, and support systems offer powerful lessons for all housing development. What if our future home prioritized community as much as square footage? The true potential lies in adapting these principles to create diverse housing options that work for everyone. If you're interested in purchasing a home, be sure to watch my next video on how Canadians can afford a house with this unconventional method. Thanks for watching.